True inner peace begins when we consciously choose to focus on ourselves rather than being consumed by the noise of the world around us. Often, we find our thoughts tangled in what others do, what they say, and how they perceive us. The mind becomes a playground for anxieties, resentments, and comparisons that drain our energy and cloud our clarity. By shifting our attention inward, we reclaim the power to cultivate a life aligned with our own values, dreams, and spiritual aspirations. This is not selfishness. It is a necessary step toward emotional freedom. Personal growth is a journey that requires introspection. When we dedicate time to understanding our emotions, desires, and fears, we create space to heal old wounds and uncover our true potential. Every moment spent reflecting on our thoughts, actions, and intentions strengthens our ability to respond to life with wisdom rather than react in haste. The more we invest in nurturing our inner selves, the less vulnerable we become to external turbulence, and the more resilient our spirit grows. One of the greatest obstacles to self-focus is the subtle pull of societal expectations. We are often taught to measure our worth by the validation of others, likes, compliments, achievements, or social approval. But external affirmation is fleeting, unstable, and often misleading. True fulfillment comes not from meeting others' expectations, but from honoring our own journey, listening to our inner voice, and acting in harmony with our principles. Emotional well-being thrives when we learn to detach from the weight of other people's opinions. Every time we bend ourselves to please someone else, we sacrifice a piece of our peace. Each small act of self-neglect builds into larger patterns of anxiety, disappointment, or resentment. By redirecting that energy inward, we allow our hearts and minds to rest, rejuvenate, and cultivate a sense of contentment that is independent of the approval or criticism of others. Focus is not about isolating ourselves from the world. Rather, it is about consciously choosing where to place our energy. We can engage with others, nurture relationships, and fulfill responsibilities without surrendering our emotional sovereignty. Setting boundaries becomes a tool of empowerment, not rejection. When we prioritize our inner life, we discover clarity in our choices, confidence in our actions, and freedom from the chaos of external pressures. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this journey. By practicing presence in each moment, we learn to recognize when our attention drifts toward distractions, judgments, or comparisons. Awareness allows us to gently redirect our energy back to what nourishes our soul. Daily habits such as reflection, journaling, prayer, or meditation become anchors, helping us navigate the currents of life without being swept away by them. Self-focus also strengthens our ability to empathize and love others genuinely. When we are at peace with ourselves, we no longer approach relationships with dependency, expectation, or insecurity. Our interactions become rooted in authenticity and compassion rather than fear or neediness. By taking care of our own hearts, we create a wellspring from which kindness and patience flow naturally, touching the lives of those around us without compromise to our well-being. Ultimately, prioritizing personal growth and emotional well-being is an act of courage and wisdom. It requires a conscious decision to resist the pull of external drama, criticism, and comparison. It calls for daily commitment, self-compassion, and the patience to watch ourselves evolve over time. Every small effort to center our attention inward is a step towards stability, serenity, and a life that feels deeply aligned with who we truly are. Letting go is often misunderstood as giving up or abandoning responsibility, but in truth, it is one of the most courageous acts of self-respect. We cling to people, habits, and situations because we fear loss, uncertainty, or the void that follows. Yet, holding on too tightly can suffocate the spirit and prevent us from growing into the fullness of who we are meant to become. Learning to release what no longer serves us is not a sign of weakness, It is an expression of wisdom and self-preservation. Guilt is a constant companion for many when it comes to letting go. We tell ourselves we should endure, forgive, or sacrifice endlessly for the sake of others. While compassion is noble, it should not come at the expense of our peace and integrity. Letting go without guilt requires a shift in perspective. We must recognize that our responsibility is to ourselves first, and that releasing attachments can be a gift, not only for us, but sometimes for others as well. One of the most important truths to embrace is that not everything is meant to stay in our lives forever. People, circumstances, and phases all have their seasons. Some are meant to teach, some to challenge, and some to prepare us for what lies ahead. When we cling to what has naturally run its course, we block the path for new opportunities, growth, and healing. Understanding this allows us to let go gracefully rather than resist out of fear or stubbornness. Letting go is also about freeing our hearts from invisible chains. Emotional attachment to past mistakes, betrayals, or disappointments can weigh us down, keeping us trapped in cycles of regret and resentment. By consciously releasing these burdens, we create space for joy, clarity, and hope to enter. Forgiveness of ourselves and others is a key part of this process, not because we condone what happened, but because we refuse to let it control our present or dictate our future. Boundaries are essential in the art of letting go. Saying no to toxic relationships, draining obligations, or harmful patterns is not selfish. It is an act of protection for our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Learning to distinguish between responsibility and overextension is crucial. When we release what harms us, we honor our own worth, strengthen our resilience, and reinforce the message that our peace is non-negotiable. Letting go also requires trust in ourselves, in our judgment, and in the flow of life. We may fear that releasing something or someone will leave us empty, lonely, or vulnerable. Yet, when we surrender control and embrace the uncertainty, we discover that life has a way of filling our hearts with exactly what we need. Faith becomes the bridge between the fear of loss and the freedom of release, allowing us to move forward without regret. The process of letting go is gradual and often cyclical. It is natural to feel doubt, nostalgia, or temptation to hold on again. Each time we practice release, even in small ways, we strengthen our ability to trust ourselves and the divine order of life. Patience with our own hearts becomes essential as the rhythm of attachment and detachment is part of our human experience. Every act of letting go is a step toward liberation and emotional clarity. Ultimately, letting go without guilt is not just an act, it is a mindset. It is choosing to honor our journey, preserve our energy, and nurture our inner peace above all else. It is an invitation to live authentically, free from the weight of unnecessary attachments, and to embrace life with open hands, open hearts, and a spirit ready for the blessings that lie ahead. Trusting divine wisdom begins with acknowledging that we do not and cannot control every aspect of our lives. Often, we spend countless hours worrying about outcomes, second-guessing decisions, and trying to orchestrate every detail to our satisfaction. Yet, this relentless need for control breeds anxiety and dissatisfaction. Trusting in a higher wisdom allows us to release the illusion that we are the sole architects of our destiny, and instead surrender to a plan far greater than our understanding. Life has a way of presenting challenges that seem unfair, confusing, or even painful. In these moments, it is natural to question why things happen the way they do. Trusting divine wisdom means believing that every hardship carries meaning, whether as a lesson, a test, or a preparation for something more beautiful. It does not minimize our struggles, but reframes them as opportunities for growth, patience, and spiritual fortitude. Patience is the companion of trust. We often desire immediate clarity, justice, or resolution, But life's timing rarely aligns with our own. By cultivating patience, we align ourselves with the natural flow of existence, recognizing that some answers come only with time and perspective. Trusting divine wisdom requires embracing this uncertainty, knowing that what is delayed is not denied, and what is hidden is not forgotten. Letting go of the illusion of control is also an act of humility. We recognize that our knowledge is limited, our perspective narrow, and our judgment imperfect. By surrendering to divine wisdom, we acknowledge that there is a source of guidance infinitely wiser than our own reasoning. This trust does not lead to passivity. It inspires mindful action, grounded in faith, patience, and the awareness that our efforts are part of a larger tapestry beyond our comprehension. Faith is strengthened through reflection and observation of life itself. When we witness how certain challenges led to unexpected blessings, or how past trials shaped us into stronger, more compassionate individuals, we begin to see the patterns of divine wisdom. Even when the path seems uncertain, the evidence of guidance in our lives reminds us that we are never truly alone and that each moment unfolds with purpose beyond what we can immediately perceive. Trusting divine wisdom also transforms our response to setbacks. Instead of resentment or despair, we cultivate acceptance, resilience, and hope. Each difficulty becomes a teacher rather than a punishment. Each closed door points toward a new direction. By seeing life through the lens of trust, we shift from fear-driven reactions to faith-driven responses, approaching each situation with calm confidence and a steady heart. Surrendering to divine wisdom nurtures gratitude. We become aware of the countless blessings that often go unnoticed, and we learn to find meaning even in adversity. Gratitude opens the heart, softens the mind, and fosters peace. When we trust that everything has a reason, we begin to appreciate both the visible gifts and the hidden lessons woven into our lives, deepening our sense of connection to a higher purpose. Ultimately, trusting divine wisdom is a lifelong practice. It is a commitment to let go of fear, doubt, and the illusion of control, and to embrace life with faith, patience, and humility. It requires conscious effort, reflection, and surrender. As we cultivate this trust, our hearts become lighter, our minds clearer, and our souls more resilient, allowing us to navigate the journey of life with serenity, purpose, and unwavering faith. Healing begins with reflection. Many of us rush through life, moving from one task to another, from one relationship to the next, without pausing to understand the experiences that shape us. Reflection allows us to slow down and examine our emotions, our choices, and the events that have left their mark on our hearts. In this stillness, we gain insight, clarity, and a deeper understanding of ourselves. Through reflection, we uncover patterns that may have gone unnoticed. We begin to see how past decisions, recurring reactions, or long-held beliefs have influenced our present circumstances. This awareness is not meant to instill regret, but to illuminate the areas in which we can grow and make conscious changes. By recognizing these patterns, we gain the power to break cycles that no longer serve our well-being. Self-reflection also nurtures emotional honesty. Many of us suppress feelings of pain, anger, or disappointment, fearing vulnerability or discomfort. Yet, true healing requires acknowledging our emotions fully. By giving ourselves permission to feel without judgment, we create space for acceptance and transformation. Every emotion, even the difficult ones, carries a message about our needs, our boundaries, and our values. Journaling, meditation, or quiet contemplation are tools that aid the reflective process. Writing our thoughts and experiences down allows us to see them objectively, uncover hidden truths, and process emotions that may otherwise remain tangled in our minds. Meditation and contemplation help us connect with our inner selves, creating a sacred space where we can listen deeply to our hearts and cultivate clarity. Healing through reflection is also about perspective. As we look back on past struggles, we may begin to see how challenges strengthened us, taught us patience, or prepared us for opportunities we could not have imagined. This reframing does not erase pain, but allows it to take on meaning, transforming suffering into a catalyst for growth, resilience, and deeper self-awareness. Reflection strengthens our relationships, both with ourselves and with others. By understanding our emotional triggers, needs, and values, we communicate more authentically and act with greater empathy. We no longer seek validation or approval at the cost of our well-being, but engage with others from a place of wholeness and self-respect. Reflection becomes a bridge between self-healing and the cultivation of meaningful connections. It is important to remember that healing is not linear. Some days bring clarity and peace, while others may resurface old wounds. Reflection is a practice, not a one-time event. Through consistent reflection, we build resilience, patience, and self-compassion. Each moment of introspection strengthens our capacity to navigate life with awareness and grace, gradually transforming inner turmoil into serenity. Ultimately, healing through reflection is an act of love toward ourselves. It requires courage to face what lies within, honesty to acknowledge our experiences, and compassion to nurture our growth. As we embrace reflection as a daily practice, we begin to experience freedom from past burdens, a deeper sense of self, and the ability to move forward with clarity, strength, and renewed purpose. Strength is often misunderstood as the ability to act without fear or the capacity to control every situation. True strength, however, is deeply intertwined with patience and faith. It is the courage to endure life's trials with a steadfast heart, trusting that every challenge carries purpose and meaning beyond what we can immediately see. Patience and faith together allow us to navigate uncertainty without losing our balance or surrendering to despair. Patience is not passive. It is an active choice to remain steadfast amidst difficulty. It is the quiet courage to wait without resentment, to endure hardship without giving in to frustration, and to maintain hope when the outcome is unclear. In moments of waiting, patience teaches us resilience, shapes our character, and strengthens our ability to respond to life with wisdom rather than impulse. Faith is the companion of patience. When we trust in a higher power or divine plan, we anchor ourselves in the belief that life is unfolding with intention, even when the path is hidden. Faith is not blind acceptance. It is the confident assurance that what is meant for us will reach us at the right time, and what is not will pass away. Together, faith and patience form a foundation that sustains us through trials, setbacks, and uncertainty. Challenges often test the limits of our patience and faith. They may come in the form of personal loss, disappointment, or obstacles that seem insurmountable. Yet, within these trials lies the opportunity for growth. Every test strengthens our resolve, clarifies our priorities, and deepens our understanding of our own endurance. The ability to remain patient and faithful in hardship is a true measure of inner strength. Patience and faith also cultivate perspective. They remind us that life is not a series of isolated events, but a continuous journey with lessons woven throughout. Setbacks are temporary, difficulties are instructive, and periods of waiting are transformative. When we view life through this lens, patience becomes a source of clarity and faith a guide that illuminates the path ahead. Endurance is not always about achieving immediate results. Often, it is about remaining steady while life unfolds, allowing time and effort to align with divine timing. By trusting that there is wisdom in the process, we release the pressure of forcing outcomes and embrace the serenity that comes from surrendering control. This balance between effort and trust is where true strength resides. Patience and faith also empower us in relationships and interactions with others. They teach us to respond with calmness rather than impulsivity, to forgive rather than resent, and to act with wisdom rather than emotion. By cultivating these qualities within ourselves, we create a ripple effect, influencing others positively and fostering harmony in our environment. Ultimately, strength in patience and faith is a lifelong practice. It requires daily commitment, self-awareness, and the courage to trust the unseen. Through perseverance and unwavering belief, we discover that our greatest power lies not in controlling life's circumstances, but in cultivating a heart and mind capable of enduring, trusting, and thriving amidst whatever comes our way. Empowerment begins when faith and action work together in harmony. Faith alone provides hope, trust, and a sense of purpose, but without action, it remains dormant potential. Action alone can produce results, but without faith, it may lack direction, meaning, and resilience. True empowerment arises when belief fuels effort, and effort reinforces belief, creating a cycle that strengthens both our spirit and our capacity to navigate life effectively. Faith guides our decisions and intentions. When we act from a place of trust in a higher wisdom, our choices are grounded in purpose rather than impulse. Faith becomes the compass that aligns our actions with our values, ensuring that every step we take contributes to growth, fulfillment, and the pursuit of what is good and meaningful. This alignment transforms ordinary actions into acts of significance. Action brings faith to life. Dreams, intentions, and spiritual trust remain abstract until they are expressed through deliberate effort. Every small step we take toward our goals, every act of kindness, and every moment we commit to self-improvement transforms faith into tangible impact. By pairing belief with initiative, we gain confidence, momentum, and the satisfaction of knowing that we are participating actively in shaping our lives. Empowerment through faith and action also requires courage. Faith inspires us to believe in possibilities beyond what we see, but stepping forward in uncertainty demands bravery. Taking action, even when the outcome is unknown, demonstrates trust in our own abilities and in the divine guidance that supports us. Courage, faith, and action together form a foundation for resilience in the face of challenges. Consistency is key to sustaining empowerment. Small, deliberate actions taken consistently over time yield profound results. Each moment of effort strengthens our skills, deepens our understanding, and reinforces our confidence. When paired with faith, consistent action becomes a steady force, gradually transforming obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into lessons. Empowerment is not solely about personal gain. It also extends to our ability to impact others positively. Actions rooted in faith, compassion, and integrity inspire those around us. By living authentically and purposefully, we create a ripple effect, encouraging others to embrace their own strength, make intentional choices, and cultivate trust in their journey. Faith and action together become a source of shared growth and inspiration. Reflection and adaptation are part of the process. Empowerment through faith and action does not guarantee immediate success or perfection. We may stumble, face resistance, or encounter failure. Yet, each experience offers an opportunity to learn, refine our approach, and strengthen our commitment. Faith provides perspective, while action allows us to grow through practice, creating a dynamic interplay that fosters resilience and wisdom. Ultimately, empowerment through faith and action is a lifelong journey. It is the conscious choice to trust, to step forward, and to participate actively in the unfolding of our lives. It transforms uncertainty into opportunity, challenges into growth, and intentions into meaningful outcomes. By embracing both faith and action, we cultivate strength, purpose, and the confidence to navigate life with clarity, determination, and unwavering hope.